So many people are asking me, how do I view what has been going on in the inner city since my departure? And quite honestly, it is truly hard for me to wrap my mind around. The murder and the mayhem is at an all-time high, and the respect for the black woman and the black children is indeed at an all-time low. And if we do not try to figure this thing out, there will be no future for either of us. The men are dying at an alarming rate, and the sisters are becoming more distressed, emotionally unstable, and psychologically detached. And I do not blame them. It is how they survive this multiple layer of insanity that they are forced to endure. I think, in my personal opinion, that we will not survive this civil war if we do not figure out this social ill and create a social and cultural revolution. What is that, you ask? It is when we create a mental curriculum that helps change our old ideas and concepts into new vibes, that forces us to change our behavior for the greater good of the entire community, thus benefiting humanity as a whole. Our stress and anxiety over poverty and economic instability is the root cause of the drug addiction that is plaguing our communities and our immediate environment. And when I refer to drug addiction, I am also talking about alcoholism. And I have to single that out because most people under the impression that alcohol is not a drug, when in fact it is the most dangerous drug in America. And until we learn how to be sober and sober-minded, we will not survive this urban war that is being rooted in self-hatred. Our salvation depends on our ability to get sober. Why? Because only when we become sober-minded will we be able to understand that we are just a dysfunctional family and not enemies. And I address some of these issues and these concerns because most often times than not, people are asking me, what do I think about the conditions that is plaguing the community? I think it's disheartening. But we will never reach a solution until we come to a common denominator. We have to learn how to communicate effectively in order to affect universal change. And I think that, that we need to take time out to really see what is really going on with our children, our women, and our community as a whole, from a communal point of view, from a communal perspective. I think that we need to start having deep, thought-provoking discussions that can provide the platform for a solution to come about, for a solution to emerge. No, I think that we need to take time out to really address these issues and address them immediately because we are living in dire circumstances and dire city and as a society. The thing is, do you believe it? Well, we do not wrap our mind around the situation and the circumstances and truly believe that we can affect change. This is why we are so hesitant and apprehensive about attacking these issues, and we relying on the government and thinking that they're going to fix the plagues and the ills that is affecting us and our lives and our communities and our children. Don't you think it's about time that we start putting one foot instead of one foot ahead of another and stop waiting for somebody outside of our community to affect change? Don't you think that we have the power and ability to create the kind of change that we so desire? But we must learn how to conceptualize that change. Conceptualization is when you take deep inventory on what you think needs to be done, and then you believe that it can be done, and then it will be done. But the thing of it is, do we truly believe that we have the power to create a new society, a new community, a new form of thinking, a new form of behavior? This is what we're talking about when we talk about a cultural revolution. A revolution only means that we go from one dimension or one state to one dimension to another, go from one position to another. 360-degree change. This is a revolution. How do we create a revolution within our community that really truly affects change, that impact our society and our families as a whole? This is the thing. These are the things that we need to be waking up every day and working on a daily and consistent basis. Because if we don't do it, no one else will. This is why it's so much murder and mayhem in our communities, because we are not taking the necessary time out to really create and establish real concrete solutions to these problems. We can't keep expecting our local officials or government officials to fix these problems. These are not their children. These are not their children. So the love and admiration that we have for our children, we have to be able to create that solution for them. if we truly love our community, if we truly love our families, if we truly love our mothers and fathers and grandfathers and great-grandfathers, these are the things that we need to be putting our energy and time into. Because if not, no one else will. Don't you think that you can affect change? Don't you think it's time for a revolution? Don't you think it's time for a cultural revolution where we start to see things differently, observe things differently, assess them differently? Don't you think it's time for a new day and a new time to emerge? Don't you think that we have the ability to deal with this in a communal way? Because individualism is not going to work today. We have tried individualism for such a long period of time and have not really so that we can tackle these issues in a communal way. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. I hope that it was thought-provoking. I hope that you see what I see. Assalamu alaikum.